I'll brainstorm on that.
Gentlemen, let me ask you something real quick. How many times have you walked away from a situation thinking, damn, that went well? Your conversation was smooth. That woman was smiling. Y'all were vibing. And then out of nowhere, she pulls back. She gets distance. She hits you with that no spark text. And now you're sitting there confused, replaying everything in your head like, what did I do wrong? Let me tell you something, nephews. Here's the truth most men don't want to hear. You didn't lose her in that moment. You lost her in the moments that you didn't even realize mattered. See, most men aren't getting rejected. They're misreading the entire situation from the very start. You're misreading your own desire. You're misreading her level of interest. You're even misreading the timing of your moves. And because of that, you either come on way too strong or you guys play it way too safe. You say the right things, but at the wrong time. And all three of those, well, they kill attraction quietly. No arguments, no big blow-ups, no clear rejection. It's just a slow shift until she's gone. And you're left trying to figure out a puzzle that was already solved. So tonight, nephews, we're breaking that down. Because this isn't about blaming women. This is about you finally seeing what's actually happening in real time. So you can stop guessing. We want you to stop overthinking. We want you to stop talking yourself out of situations you're already in. So if you've ever felt like this, if you've ever made her feel uncomfortable without knowing why, if you've ever felt like you did everything right but still got nowhere, if you ever thought that you overthink the moments and feel it slipping away, then this episode is for you, nephews. Call in, drop your questions in the chat, email Uncle Johnny to get on next week's show. This is Ask Your Favorite Uncles, and it starts now. I'm your certified unk tonight. Johnny, go ahead and introduce yourself for everybody watching.
So, Johnny Dumbbell here. I'm in beautiful Pittsburgh, PA, and I'm your no BS personal trainer and life coach. And I generally am here to give advice to young men when it comes to fitness, both mental and physical, so you can stop getting played and start winning. One of the biggest things that I bring to the table is that I have screwed up in just about every way possible when it comes to relationships, when it comes to professional career, job, things like that. So, there are times when I took a risk, it was a calculated risk, and there are times that I took a risk and it was a stupid risk. But on the other end of it was something that, my God, just seemed so tempting. The point I'm making is if you are contemplating doing something, especially if at the other end of that is love, romance, or fun time activity, and what you're willing to do seems kind of stupid if you were to step outside that circle for a second and say it out loud to yourself, I want you to leave it in the comments, shoot me an email, call in, talk to us first, because chances are in our younger years, Uncle Bill or I, we or both of us have done something similar and stupid. So I guess what I'm trying to say is we are the uncles that everybody knows, everybody talks about, and certain members of the family have great stories about. And we can tell you we can fill in the blanks of those stories. The point is we are not proud of the stories that we have to tell, but we are proud of the outcome in that we are proud of the men that we have become from having learned our lesson the hard way, from having been the ones who screwed up so that you don't have to. Now let's roll.
All right, Johnny, we got some questions here before we get to work tonight. Charlie the Jesus wants us to give a shout out to Valentina. So shout out to Valentina. Hey, we appreciate you guys watching. And we got some greetings from Ecuador too. And I just love that, nice. Johnny, that we are just helping men all over this world. So, hey, let's get to work tonight. What's our first question tonight, Johnny? Let's get right into this.
All right. So what we have here is, let me see. We got question one from Chris. He says, how do I get rid of all romantic desire? This dude's ready to check out. Because I'm tired of having romantic desire. Time and time again, my romantic desire has been nothing but a burden. Every, and I mean every, woman I've expressed romantic desire in has been made uncomfortable by me. Not I made her uncomfortable, has been made uncomfortable by me. I want you to make sure you take note of that passive tense. Don't tell me that's an exaggeration because it just isn't. My man's angry. There's something about me or my romantic desire or something that is a burden to others. How can I stop having romantic desire for others? I think what he's asking Uncle Bill is how does he numb himself? Because I think at this point he's ready to check out. Looks like he is 31.
All right, Chris, I'm going to meet you where you're at, but I'm not going to stay there with you.
No.
It's because what you just said, that's not logic. That is defeat talking. You didn't wake up one day and decide, I don't want desire. You got conditioned into that. Every awkward interaction you had, every time
now he wants conditioned out of
women pulled back, every moment you felt like you were the one that made things weird, you started stacking evidence. And now you've built your identity around it. And you think that your interest makes women uncomfortable. And I got to tell you, nephews, that's the real problem here. And look, let's stop dancing around this, Johnny. Let's get right into this. I'm going to tell you the root cause of why this happens. You don't trust yourself in social situations. So when you feel desire, it doesn't come out smooth. It comes out heavy. It lands rushed. It comes out slightly anxious and even outcome driven. Sir,
yeah, I mean,
feel free to call up if you think I'm smoking anything. You sound like one of these guys that run behind women and then don't understand why they don't want anything to do with you.
I cannot not read any of these.
All right, listen, you got to understand, women, they're not responding to his words, Johnny. They're responding to his underlying tension. And what he's doing, and he doesn't realize this, you're walking into interactions already carrying this whole, I hope this goes well. I don't want to mess this up, or I don't want to make her uncomfortable again. So now you're not present in the moment. You're performing damage control before it even happens.
Well, I mean, and not only that, but what this sounds to me like the journal entry of an actor who keeps getting denied roles, who keeps auditioning and keeps not getting the part. And this doesn't sound like he's upset about getting a background part when he wanted a main role. This sounds like he's getting cut from, production altogether. And he's not happy about the fact that he's out there trying, he's out there auditioning, he's out there being the best that he can be, and he's not being rewarded. That's just it. He's looking for his validation of who he is, or what he's accomplished, or what it happens to be. He's looking for that validation from without. He's not going to get it. He's not going to get it until he gives it to himself from within.
All right, nephew, we appreciate you writing in. I really mean that. I appreciate you seeking some guidance on your issues. So
yeah, you got to
give you the fix.
Yourself a little bit better, man.
I want you to, I know this is where most advice fails you, but you don't fix this by being more confident. You need to fix this by retraining your nervous system in real time. All right, so here's your path forward. Let me give him the game on what he needs to do to move forward, Johnny. Now, I want you to go on a 30-day no outcome protocol. I don't care how attractive she is. For 30 days, you don't try to get numbers. You do not express romantic interest. You don't escalate. Your only goal here is to have clean, pressure-free interactions. All right. And you could do that. It's real simple. You could do it with the cashier at the store, coworkers, even complete strangers. You walk in, you speak, you leave, no agenda. You're rewiring your internal dialogue by doing this. Every time you feel that urge to impress or even like push forward, you replace it with, I don't need anything from this moment. Say it in your head every single time if you need to, but that's how you remove pressure from your presence. Now,
yeah, I mean, couple that with a little bit of an assertive step, and you've got yourself some walking confidence, man. Yeah.
I want him to build social reps without attraction attached to it. Right now, every interaction this man's having matters too much to him. And
yeah,
look, that's why it's breaking down. So look, we're going to, let me separate this a little bit. Let me slow this down and separate this a little bit, nephew. I want you to, and I usually tell guys to approach women, at least 5 women a day. Now, that's for another reason. I want you to do that. I want you to talk to 5 women every day, but with 0 intentions. And you're going to do things like practice eye contact. Okay. I need you to do things like practice your tone and practice slowing down your speech. Okay. Now, you're not learning attraction yet. What we're going to do first is teach you some control. So there has to be a gradual reintroduction of desire. So after 30 days, you're not going to jump back in heavy, but you're going to introduce light teasing. You're going to introduce controlled escalation and just piece by piece. And look, here's the real game for you, nephew. You don't need less desire. You need control over when it shows up and control over how it's delivered. Because right now, sir, your desire is controlling you. And look, we're going to flip that.
I'm building on that.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Yeah, I'm building on that. I mean, you're auditioning for all these parts, right? And, you're not getting the parts. You're getting upset. You're getting frustrated with that. Well, that's because you are trying to fit into something that maybe you don't fit into. Even if you did fit into it, why are you trying to fit into something? How do you even know that's going to fit into your life, into your process, into your, steps to greatness, to whatever it is you're trying to achieve? How do you even know this is going to fit into your life? You don't. You're too busy diving in and trying to, pass some sort of test or, make this person like you or grab their attention, grab their affection. And I mean, when you fail to do so, you're taking that personally as if you're somehow not enough. But you know what? If you're not enough to yourself, you're going to be right in every situation, no matter who the person is.
Johnny, I'm going to say something that's not going to be very popular, but I think he needs to hear it. Because when you're a man who has control over his lust, you're going to soon realize that a lot of women don't have much to offer besides their body.
I mean, look, nobody likes to talk about that, but I mean, I've been dating for 30 years, man. Yeah, I got you, man.
All right. Hey, nephew, again, Thanks for writing in. Shout out to you. Call in if you want me to elaborate on anything, or feel free to reach out to Uncle Johnny for some follow-up questions. If we can't get you on next week's show, we'll get you on the week after that. We just appreciate you writing in.
Appreciate it. We'll keep in touch, man. All right, so we got question 2 from Braden. By the way, if anybody has if any of you are experiencing frustration when it comes to online dating or just the modern dating game, who do you think has it rougher? Who some weird experiences you've had lately, or just general frustration? Leave it in the comments. Leave it in the live chat. We'd love to hear it. We don't love to hear that you're struggling, but
Hey, shout out to Minnie Mom. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. I think we need to each get on here and make Minnie Mom a moderator on her channels, Johnny. I know she's on yours a lot more, but
yeah, she can. Yeah, she might be good for that. Yeah. So this one is we got Braden here. Braden says, "I'm tired of the unrealistic spark expectations of dating." We got this is after yet another dating fail where, despite a lovely conversation and a date that spanned for hours, I got the "I think you're amazing, but I didn't feel any spark" text, and I'm genuinely amused and perhaps a bit concerned by the unrealistic expectations that have become normalized through the fast food logic of dating apps. I kind of get that, but because everyone claims that they're tired of apps and want traditional dating, but they seem to have forgotten how traditional attraction actually works and the effect of continued exposure to people. In the past, you grew attracted to each other because you were confined to the same spaces over time, doing stuff together or having brief interactions here and there. Your colleague is just a colleague until, after months of shared projects, you discover you like them more than expected. Your friend is just a friend until you realize you're just attracted to them. Everyone is just someone you're not attracted to until time changes how you see and feel about them. Yet modern dating has abandoned this gradual discovery in favor of a slot machine vibe. First of all, I got to tell you, thanks for the great grammar, the well put together letter here. This is great. I can actually follow this easily.
A philosopher in a street fight, Johnny. He's not wrong, but he's getting knocked out anyway.
But anyways, as a person you barely spoken to expects 4th of July fireworks within 2 hours, or they just move on. They treat dating like a social media feed that if they aren't hooked in the first 30 seconds, they'll tell you there was no spark and move on to the next person after you pay the bill, of course. Come on, man. I'm not saying you shouldn't want chemistry. I do. And by all means, buy a taser if you want to spark that badly. But we are conflating raw, instantaneous sexual attraction and anxiety with the actual foundations of a relationship. Again, don't get me wrong. Those are just as important. If you don't feel it in one date, you won't feel it ever is even more interesting, because that's just not how it works. Give yourself and your dates time to ignite or whatever. And outside dating, this is also how we live. We've grown into people who have forgotten how to let something grow. We want instant success, financial growth, and everything else without putting in the work, as if the people we admire had just dropped it in their laps. Is there any way that we can find a middle ground between this modern age of expediency and the old-fashioned methodology of attraction? I got to tell you, lengthy, wordy, but he does make some interesting points here, Bill.
Like I said, Johnny, he's not wrong. He's just getting knocked out anyway. I think the hard part for him is and the hard part for all of us is that, knowing this, we are still expected to kind of keep marching forward, keep moving forward, and eventually succeed because we work so hard, because we've been raised and conditioned to believe that that's just how it works somehow. And look, in many fields and many aspects of life, it sure does. But the problem with that is those are in things that are fair, things that have regulations. Whatever you want to think, war does not have regulations. Love, romance also does not have any regulations. The heart wants what it wants, whether it's fair or not. Biological attraction is attraction. Again, whether it is fair, and I put that in air quotes, fair or not. And I think that is kind of something it seems like he's kind of struggling with throughout the context of this. What do you think? I think, nephew, you're trying to convince the game to slow down, but what you really need to do is learn how to win at the speed that it's played at. Okay, because I think what you're actually saying here is that you want time, you want a certain familiarity, you want organic development, but you're operating in a system that says, give me a reason in 90 minutes or I'm gone.
Right.
So, and here's where you're losing, because you're showing up as easy to talk to. You're showing up as agreeable, safe, predictable.
And hey, why not? They say, and listen, why not? Pop culture tells you to be.
What you're calling that connection? No, she's calling that no spark. Now, here's the hard truth. Women don't reward comfort early. They reward tension. They reward uncertainty in a good way. They can even reward emotion. But what you need to add is not more effort. I think it's more contrast, really. So what you should be doing, here's the game on how to move forward, nephew. You need to stop trying to be liked. You're filtering yourself way too much. Start saying what you actually think, what you actually disagree with, what you actually find interesting, respectfully, but directly. Now, what I like to do, create some emotional spikes. Instead of something like, oh, that's cool, you say, I don't believe you. You gotta challenge them a little bit. Say stuff like that sounds like something you tell people to sound interesting. Now she's engaged. Now the woman is reacting. Now she's feeling something, nephew, and that's a spark.
Yep.
Control the pacing. Look,
it goes back to the power of laughter. Yeah.
Control the pacing, nephew. We always tell you long dates equal low tension. All right. So next time, 16 to 90 minutes, you be the first one to end it and leave on a high note. Mystery beats familiarity early.
Yeah.
Also, Johnny, he needs to reframe spark. Spark is not compatibility. Spark is not long-term potential. Spark is, does she feel something around you? So
Spark
your
is simply
is
biological attraction.
feeling.
Yeah.
The real game here for you, nephew. You're not trying to prove you're a good partner. You're trying to earn another opportunity. That's it. Win one date and then build.
That's it.
And look, if you need us to elaborate on that, right, Uncle Johnny, shoot me an email. I'd love to give you the game on how to build tension with women. I consider myself an expert at it. All right.
As far as I go, you and I have a conversation about confidence and how you can present yourself in a way that exudes that, and only that.
Nephews, call in with your questions. We're here to answer them for you. There's the number. We got you. Right, Uncle Johnny? Put it in the chat. Reach out to us. We're your favorite uncles. We're here for you to ask questions.
And by the way, if you're one of our regulars and you're watching right now, please remember, like, subscribe. If you're not already liking and subscribing this video, then I don't know, you're just not going to get any for the next 6 months, I guess. I don't know. I'm kidding. No, definitely like and subscribe, though. We'd love to see you guys, and we'd like to see you guys here every Monday and Thursday night, even though this is Tuesday.
More importantly, if you found something valuable in this stream and you don't subscribe, you're probably not going to see us again. And we're really here to give you the game on how men are supposed to move. We want to help you, nephews. Write in, call in, ask your favorite uncles.
Shout out to Hockey Guy, man. How's it going? Good to see you. All right, so we got question 3. I'm going to put my dad glasses on here. This is from Petro, sorry. Leave me alone, their prescription. It said, had sex on date 5. Can we say that? We'll say close relations. Had close relations on date 5.
Adult fun is what I prefer to use.
I already said the bad word now. There goes the algorithm. Then got anxious after a serious conversation. Should I check in or wait? Uncle Bill, we know what the answer usually is here, but let's read on. I'm looking for some outside perspective because I'm in my head right now. I've been seeing this girl for about 5 dates. Things have been going well overall. Good chemistry, easy conversation. We've kissed, held hands, And we had another date already planned for Thursday, which I'm guessing was this past week. So last night we went out, ended up going back to her place and had, what do we call it? Fun time?
Adult fun.
Adult fun. All right. For the first time. This tap dancing around the algorithm stuff is a bunch of bullshit. I'm just letting you know. Anyway.
Hey.
So.
I agree.
Anyway,
and that's why my Rumble is blowing up. I can't wait to start doing more on Rumble with the gloves off.
This is barely PG-13 if it wasn't for the occasional F-bomb. Anyway, so afterward, I asked for a little about her past relationship history. Bill, that's bad Petro, isn't it? Bad Petro.
Petro, this is
after
where men
first
sabotage
of all,
after they do everything right.
Petro, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you shouldn't be asking that anyway, but if you're going to be asking that, maybe ask that before you slept with her as opposed to afterward if you're really trying to be cautious here. But I'm just look, if you don't trust it, don't stick it. Anyway. So I asked a little bit about her past relationship history, and I told her that I'm dating intentionally and ultimately looking for something serious / long-term. I wasn't asking her to define anything right then, but I'm worried the timing may have made the moment feel heavier than if I'd meant to. Later, she kind of hinted that it was time for me to head out, but she was still warm. We kissed goodbye. Warm personality-wise. I'm like, what? You don't want to get out of bed? We kissed goodbye, and she offered to walk me down to the front door of her building. I texted her when I got home, saying I got home safe and had a good time, and she just liked the message instead of replying. Oh. Strike one. And that's what's messing with me, because she usually replies with an actual message. I'm trying to figure out if I should just wait until our Thursday date and act normal, or if I should check in beforehand and ask how she felt about last night. Guys, in the comments, let us know whether or not you think there's even going. In the comments, let us know if you think there is even going to actually be a Thursday night date. I haven't heard back. Or if I should check in beforehand and ask how she felt about last night. What do you want, a friggin' performance review? Part of me wants clarity. No, part of you is chasing clarity. But I also don't want to make things heavier or come across needy. What's the best move here? Should I leave it alone and let the next date show me where things stand? Or is it better to address it now? P.S. P.S. And prior to making love, we've been texting each other almost every day. For the love of God, would you stop calling it making love? And if you're mentioning it,
let me ground you first. All right. And I know Uncle Johnny and I can be hard on you sometimes, and we do appreciate you writing in. Shout out to you, nephew. You didn't mess this up. Let's talk about this. You got 5 dates. You got physical escalation. You got some adult fun and a warm exit. All right. That doesn't happen by accident. Now, your mistake wasn't what you said. It was when you shifted the energy from experience to evaluation right after intimacy.
I mean, he went right after the validation hook. I mean, right after it.
Okay. So what happened in that moment? Let me break this down for you. She went from this feels good to what does this mean? And that, sir, is a heavier space. And look, here's where most men lose it. You guys, she pulls back slightly and you panic, not because of her behavior, but because of uncertainty. The liked message trap, Johnny. Let's break this down for him. You saw that and thought that something changed. No. What really changed is your emotional stability. Now, let me give you the game on how to move. You want to add something to this, Johnny, before I help him return to baseline energy here?
So here's the thing. You are going to automatically assume that maybe your bedroom performance wasn't so good. But here's the thing. Afterwards, you were the one drawing the circles around the nips, asking, what are we? Maybe not in those words, but you decided that now you wanted to bare your soul after you already bared your body. I mean, look, maybe that made sense to you. But I'm telling you right now, I understand you guys just shared a very private, very intimate moment. But the thing of it is that you went ahead and opened up the rest. You didn't just give her the layers of the onion. You gave her a friggin' cross section. So now, not only has that whole thing taken place, but she's weighing. She's now thinking to herself, "My God, what is this? What have I done? This guy's really emotionally into me, and maybe she wasn't quite there yet. Maybe she would have been there. Maybe she wouldn't have." But I mean, you didn't really tell us exactly what you were discussing, but it sounds like it was a pretty deep conversation. And this is why we tell you guys. I'm not saying don't lay there long enough to catch your breath, but as soon as you got that breath caught, if this is early on, just get up. I'm not saying you got to leave. I'm saying get up and maybe make a sandwich.
Go get a drink of water. Go use the restroom. Do not lay there in bed and cuddle.
Just shut the hell up for about 10 minutes afterwards. And so, look, everybody thinks it's post-nut clarity. First of all, no. For the first 5 or 10 minutes, we're talking post-nut softness. Then the clarity comes. That's why you give it a few minutes before you open your freaking mouth, no matter how good the kitty cat was. I don't care.
All right, look, nephew. Here's the game on what you need to do to move forward, because that's why you rode in tonight. You're going to do absolutely nothing. Man. No check-ins. No clarification text.
On the plus side, at least he didn't talk himself out of her panties without actually getting in the first. I mean, whatever. But
now, if you know emotional follow-up, whatever you do, you already set up the next date, and that is your answer. Now, look, on Thursday, let's talk about how he should move on Thursday for a minute, Johnny.
Yeah.
No serious talks.
Assuming that wasn't last Thursday.
Okay, well, no relationship direction. No, how did you feel about the other night?
Oh,
what
God.
You need to bring it back to is fun, playfulness, and presence. You need to let this woman come to you emotionally. You introduce seriousness way too early in your relationship with her. Now,
instead of asking how much fun you were, it would have been a lot better if you'd have just told her how much fun she was.
Okay, nephew, you need to step back and let her re-engage, reinvest, and reopen. All right, and here's what we really need you to do. We want you to fix your internal reaction, because this is the real work right here. Because if you don't fix this, next time you're going to text her too much. You are going to seek reassurance, and nephew, you're going to kill attraction. So
if it's still alive.
Hey, Johnny hit this nail right on the head earlier. You don't chase clarity. You observe her behavior. And right
that is
now,
your clarity.
Her behavior says she's still there. So we need you to stay grounded. And look, what do you think, Johnny?
I mean, look, the thing of it is that he's teetering between what's actually happening and what he really wants to have happen. And I think that maybe she's pretty hot. I think that maybe he had a really good time, if you know what I mean. And she might have been very, very talented. Whatever his reasoning is, this guy got hooked and attached to her. Now, for her, they got that physical part out of the way. You know, they got to know each other a little bit in that realm. And then the next thing you know is, now I'm not saying that she didn't think he was any good. It's quite possible she thought he was. I mean, he could have been a porn star for all anybody knows. But the problem was the conversation as they lay there. The problem was him taking a 52 card, deck, and instead of, he didn't even bother spewing them all over the floor. He just laid them out and lined them up in order. You know, I mean, when you do that, you know, like I said, you just kind of let everything kind of flow. You got diarrhea of the mouth while you're laying there. And now you talked yourself out of her bedroom when you've already been in. That's even worse.
All right, Johnny,
I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know, how do you address it now? I would say you don't mention it. I would say you confirm your plans for Thursday on Wednesday. See how it goes. I would love to know whether or not you got a text back, if that's, you know, the path you decided to take, which I hope it is. But I would like to know what happens, because I mean, the thing of it is like I said, we just kind of, God, you dove in head first on this one.
All right, Johnny, the real battle for him isn't sex. It's what adult fun activates in him afterwards. Because
he's chasing that dopamine carrot badly.
a lot of men, intimacy doesn't calm them down. It attaches them emotionally before they're mentally prepared to stay grounded. And nobody teaches men this part. And look, so let's talk about this. What happens to a lot of you guys after intimacy? Before you have adult fun, you guys are relaxed, you're playful, you're confident, and you're present. And then after you have adult fun, you start overthinking. You start seeking reassurance. You start watching texting patterns.
You know, Bill, sometimes it's that way and sometimes it's the other way around, but it's bad either way.
Well, he's looking for meaning in everything. And why? It's because what intimacy creates, okay? It creates emotional exposure. Attachments to these chemicals we're always talking about, Johnny. Dopamine, oxytocin.
Oh, man. And he was dosed to the eyeballs that night.
Intimacy creates vulnerability. And especially in him, it's creating a fear of loss. Now, combine that with somebody you actually like, and suddenly your nervous system starts screaming, don't lose this. And that's the moment that men leave their masculine frame and start chasing certainty. Now, and
again, you're tap dancing, you're auditioning, you know.
The first thing I need you to understand, okay, adult fun does not automatically mean commitment. It doesn't mean emotional security. It doesn't mean exclusivity. And it certainly doesn't mean long-term alignment. And a lot of men mentally fast forward after intimacy. Women usually don't. All right. And men think, oh, well, we crossed the line. Women think we shared an experience. There's a huge difference in that. So here's what I want to do. I want to teach you how to stay grounded after intimacy. Do not immediately evaluate the relationship. And this is where you drifted, nephew. Because right after the intimacy, it's not the time for what Johnny likes to say, what are we? It's not the time for future talks. It's not the time for emotional processing or even defining direction. Why?
I mean, as soon as he caught his breath, he started talking.
I'll even tell you why, nephew. It's because you're both still emotionally open from the experience. And that conversation carries extra emotional weight in that moment. And you need to let that experience settle first. That's why Johnny said, get up and go, make yourself a sandwich. Look, don't turn one moment.
I'm going to say you're going to need some protein in that sandwich. I'm just letting you know.
Look, don't turn one moment into a future. And a lot of men do this silently. They have one intimate night with a woman that they're really into, and then suddenly in their head, they're imagining consistency. They're imagining attachment. They're imagining emotional permanence. Nephew, slow down. One good night is one good night.
I mean, tell us she was good without telling us she was good, right? I mean,
all right, now, nephew, something I'm always talking about is how to master your nerves.
That's all it takes for most of us.
Now, you need to watch your nervous system and not her phone. Okay. And here's the real game, because most men, after that adult fun, they become hyper observant to things like response times, punctuation, emojis, and even
I was just going to say,
the like versus reply. That's anxiety.
You'll break this poor kid's heart with a friggin' thumbs up to a message.
Hey, grounded men don't obsess over micro signals. They watch patterns over time. We need you to return to your routine immediately, nephew. This is critical. So I would start with tomorrow morning: gym, work, mission.
Make your bed, then gym.
Structure. Do not emotionally orbit women. Your life cannot become waiting to see how she feels. All right. That destroys your center. So please stop treating intimacy like validation. And I know, Johnny, this one hits deep.
Dude, for a lot of guys, I mean, a lot of us, especially when we're young. Yeah. I mean, look, testosterone mixed with a whole bunch of other hormones can kind of make you get a little illogical. This is why we got to make sure that we keep our heads about us.
All right. And look, nephews, some men, you're not really attached to the woman. You're attached to what intimacy made you feel about yourself. Desired, chosen, enough. So when her energy shifts even slightly afterward, you start to panic because now your self-worth feels unstable again. And that's why grounded men build identity outside of women. So look, here's some real masculine frame for you after intimacy, because the real flex isn't pulling her. The real flex isn't smashing her. The real flex is not impressing her. The real flex is staying emotionally centered afterwards. Okay? Can you enjoy that moment? Appreciate that connection, stay open, and remain grounded if things evolve slowly, because that's emotional maturity. Look,
and more importantly, be okay being with somebody else or yourself.
When a man loses himself, when intimacy becomes attachment before consistency, look, okay, I guess what I'm trying to tell you here is don't let one night make you abandon your emotional discipline. And that's the real game, nephew.
That's it.
All right, nephews, call in with your questions. We're going to be on for maybe a few more minutes. And all right, let me check this out. Hold on 1 second.
We got.
I'm sorry. I'm looking through some stuff here. I'm sorry, guys. I'm live on TikTok. I'm live on YouTube. I'm live on Rumble right now. I'm live on Facebook. So I just got a lot going on here.
Hey, if you're on TikTok, I'm Johnny.dumbbell. That's my @ So come get me there on there. Come get me there. Follow me. I got some fitness tips as well as clips from the show and a couple of actual like personal write-in question and answer shorts in there for you. So,
all right, gentlemen, tonight wasn't about women. Tonight wasn't about dating apps. Tonight,
as much as it seemed like they were,
it wasn't about the spark. Tonight wasn't about what she said or didn't say. Tonight was about you. Because every single situation we broke down tonight had one thing in common. And nephews, it wasn't rejection or bad luck. It was misinterpretation. The first guy, he thought his desire was the problem when really his lack of control over it is.
Chris, yeah.
What was the other? Braden thought that the system is broken when really he wasn't adapting to the game that's being played.
That's a classic case of trying to control the non-controllables and ignoring the controllables.
Right. And Petro thought something went wrong when really nothing happened except his mind started racing. And that's where a lot of you men lose. Not in the moment, but in what they tell themselves about that moment, Johnny. You take one look, one text, one energy shift, and you start building a story that she's losing interest, or I messed up, or even I'm not enough.
Or my personal favorite, why do they always do this to me?
But once you believe that story, nephews, your behavior follows it. You get needy. You overcorrect. You chase clarity. And that's the moment you actually lose the woman. All right, so listen to me carefully, okay? Confusion is not rejection. Silence is not always disinterest. And a shift is not always the end. But the way you react to those things, that's what determines everything. So the man who wins in dating isn't the smoothest. He's not the funniest. He's not even the most attractive. He's the most grounded. Right? He's a man who can sit in uncertainty and not fold like a camp chair. He's a man who can feel something and not rush it. Or someone who wants something and not chase it. Because look, the truth is, most of you don't lose women. You lose your positioning. You step out of it. You step out of it when you rush, when you overthink, or even when you need answers too fast. And once you lose that position, you're reacting instead of leading. So look, here's what I want you to take with you tonight, nephews. Next time something feels off, the next time you don't get the response you expected, the next time your mind starts spinning, don't move, don't text, don't explain. Instead, observe. Let reality show you what's actually happening. And instead of rushing to fill in those blanks with fear, we need you to do better. Because men who can stay grounded in uncertainty, that's the man who never loses control. He doesn't chase outcomes. He creates them. Nephews, call in next week. Drop your questions in the chat. Email Uncle Johnny. Until then, go forth and conquer. John, you got anything to say before we wrap this up tonight?
Yeah, just that once again, it's going to be 3 days before we see you guys again. Couple of sleeps before you get some more wisdom from your uncles. Until then, stay the hell out. I keep forgetting it's not Monday. Still, 2 days. Keep yourselves out of trouble. We don't have bail money. So no drugs or alcohol, please. But if you do drink, don't drive. And if you do drive, don't park. Because accidents cause people, and that's going to cost you. Good night.
Hey, thanks for watching, nephews. God bless the real. We out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.